Govinda. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Srila Prabhupada ki jai Brantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paschatya Desatarine. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4, chapter 23, chapter 28, Bente Ocho, text 23, Bente Tres. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pashuvad Yavanaya Isha Niyamanaha Swakang Chayam Anvadravan Anupataha Suchanto Brisham Aturaha Pashuvadhyavanaresha Niyamana Sukam Shayam Anvadravan Anupata Anamanu Anvadravan Avadrananupata Avadrananupata Suchanto Brisham Aturaha Pashuvadhyavanaresha Niyamana Sukam Shayam Anvadrananupataha Suchanto Brisham Aturaha Pashuvadhyavanaresha Nyanam Sukam Shayam Anvadrananupataha Pashuvadhyavanaresha Niyamana Sukam Chayam Taha Turaha. If there's a dot over the A, if there's a dot under the H and it comes at the end, you add a ha. And if there's a line over the A before it, then it's a long A. Aturaha. And if there was no line, it would be aturaha. And if it comes in the middle, some pundits will say it, and Prabhupada didn't, as far as I know. But when it comes at the end of a line, you have space, and so that dot means there's a ha, So we have aturaha, we have anupataha. Ladies, want to try? Pashuvad Yavanaresha Niyamana Shukam Shayam Pataha Chantam Brisham Aturaha. Okay, I've given a title to this verse. The title of this verse is "The Party's Over." And you'll understand when we read the translation. Word meanings: Pashuvat, like an animal. Javanai, by the Yavanas. Ishaha, Purañjana. Niyamanaha, being arrested and taken away. Swakam, to their own. Shayam, abode. Anvadravan, followed. Anupataha, his attendants. Sochantaha, lamenting. Brisham, greatly. Aturaha, being distressed. When the Yavanas were taking King Purañjana away to their place, binding him like an animal, the king's followers became greatly aggrieved. While they lamented, they were forced to go along with him. When Yamaraj and his assistants take a living entity away to the place of judgment, the life, air, and desires, being followers of the living entity, also go with him. This is confirmed in the Vedas. When the living entity is taken away or arrested by Yamaraj, tam utkara mantam, the life air also goes with him. Prana nutikramati. When the life air is gone, pranam anutkramantam, all the senses, sarve pranaha, also go along. Anut kramanti. When the living entity and the life air are gone, the lump of matter produced of 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, is rejected and left behind. The living entity then goes to the court of judgment, and Yamaraj decides what kind of body he's going to get next. This process is unknown to modern scientists. Every living entity is responsible for his activities in this life, and after death he is taken to the court of Yamaraja, where it is decided what kind of body he will take next. Although the gross material body is left, the living entity and his desires, as well as the resultant reactions of his past activities, go on. It is Yamaraj who decides what kind of body one gets next in accordance with one's past action. So you have a good time, you enjoy, and to think of all the good times you've had, right? Was it doing anything for you right now? Like, when you were 15 and you went skiing down the mountain and you were having this amazing time, or you went to that fantastic party, etc. Is it doing anything for you right now? No, it's basically during that time and maybe a little after, right? Just come back from my vacation, it was great. Then you go back to work, and in a few days, a few weeks, you're as depressed as you were before you went on your vacation. You're not experiencing it. It was just good while it lasted. But it doesn't last long. But what lasts is the resultant reaction, the karma of what you did. And so you're no longer experiencing the pleasure, but you may now have to suffer the consequences if you've engaged in sinful activity. Right? So it's kind of a rip-off, to use that cliche, that you get something good, but the price is amazing, what you have to pay for it. And imagine you bought a product and it evaporated, but you were paying for it like the rest of your life. So that's what the material happiness is like that. It just evaporates, you don't have it anymore. And so, of course, you buy a car, buy a home, and so forth, you have. But so much of our happiness is fleeting. We don't have it, now we're paying for it. And sometimes just paying for it in a physical way. We're tired, we're burned out, whatever. But here, this verse is explaining how we're paying for it karmically. You may forget, Yamaraj doesn't forget. Prabhupada tells a story that he went to a Christian college. And so one of the things that the British did was to try to basically deprogram Hindus and convert them to Christianity. So this was Scottish Churches College. And we're in Scotland, and now we're talking about Scottish Churches College. So Prabhupada's teacher said, the Hindus believe in reincarnation, but there's no proof. And they say that you will suffer in your next life. And the teacher said, but there's no witness. Like, who knows what you did? Who witnessed it? Who wrote it down? How are you going to get punished? So he was looking at it, materially, logically, Last night you did something in your home, the doors were shut. Who's going to know what you did? Something sinful. How are you going to pay for that? He didn't believe in the next life, but that was just another argument. Even if there's a next life, who's going to write it down? And in that lecture, Prabhupada said, the sun sees it, the moon sees it, the wind god sees it, the air god sees it, the fire god. They're all present. They all see it. And here we're learning that it doesn't escape the vigilance of Yamaraj. He's got, I don't know if he's using a MacBook now, but he had it together before computers came out. He had it figured out. And so it's all there. And so you enjoyed, so-called, now you're not experiencing the enjoyment, and now you get to pay for something that it just evaporated. What a deal. Welcome to the material world. Have fun while you're here. Hare Krishna. Sometimes we say, if I knew it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have come. Yes? Why didn't they tell me before I slipped down here and decided to come? They did, Prabhu, they warned you, but your desire to be God was so strong, in one ear, out the other. You didn't hear. Right? And so then when we come to the material world with this intense desire to be the enjoyer and controller, we first come because we didn't hear, and then we have all these experiences and it doesn't make sense to us. Prabhupada said it's like a dog. Dog's coming, bothering you, and you go, get away, get away. You get your stick, he won't go away, you hit him, he won't go away, you throw a rock, he still comes back, he doesn't get it. That he shouldn't bother you because you're going to injure him, or you're going to hurt him in some way. So we get hurt and injured. It's like, hello, anybody home? No, I can still be God. And then we get defeated time and time again, and we stand up. I can still be God. And at some point, we're fortunate enough to say, no, this doesn't work. I can't be God. It's better I serve Him. That's like 10 zillion lifetimes later. That's how long it took us to understand. And then you become a devotee, and then sometimes, even after a devotee, we don't get it. We say, why don't I understand this? I say, well, you've been here 10 zillion Google lifetimes, and it took you that long just to figure out that this is not working. So how long is it going to take you, to actually get to the point where you can give these things up and actually do it? It's not easy, right? You ever have a habit you're trying to break? And you're like, okay, I'm going to break this habit. It could be a simple thing, just like you rub your eyes all the time. You go, stop rubbing your eyes. Okay, I'm going to break the habit. And what do? 3 seconds later, you rub your eyes, right? Why? Because it's ingrained. And then you don't even realize you rubbed. So you just rubbed your eyes. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. I just saw it. You don't even know. It's materialism. Being God is so ingrained that it's like we don't even notice it anymore. So that's the challenge. So now we read this here, and so we think, okay, what does this have to do with me? I'm chanting Hare Krishna, everything's fine. Well, if you stop chanting Hare Krishna, then you're on the list here for judgment. But if you chant Hare Krishna, fortunately, Yamaraj instructs his servants, don't bother the devotees. There's a story, did you read this story on Facebook about this disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta who gave up his devotional service, and that his body, they didn't burn his body, but he was on the wood ready to be burned. And, he was already in Yamaloka. And Yamaraj said to him, he was looking at his list of sinful activities, and he couldn't say anything good. He said, have you done anything good? I don't see anything good here. He said, yes, I was a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta shows up, chastises him, and tells him, I'm going to continue your life. It was a total Jamil story. I will continue your life, but you cannot commit any more sins. He said, yes, Guru Maharaj, and I'm sorry for what I've done. He begged forgiveness. Okay, you're forgiven. And then he walks off the funeral pyre. He just gets up and Hare Krishna. So, amazing, right? The spiritual master is there to save his disciple, even though the disciple has forgotten him, from the hands of Yamaraj. Krishna tudiya parapankacha pancharantam adhyaiva me vishatu manasara jahangsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pitai kandavaro dhanavidho shmaranam kutaste. My dear Lord, may the swan of my mind be entangled in the stems of your lotus feet. May I remember you now and quit my body, for when I die, who knows, I'll be choked. I may not be able to say your name. That's the prayer of the devotee. And when Prabhupada was in his last days, he was also singing. And now, let me think of you and go back to Godhead. So, have you heard that saying? Nobody wants to die and everyone wants to go to heaven. How do we figure that one out? How do we get you to heaven if you don't want to die? So, a devotee, a real devotee, is not afraid of death. Why is he not afraid of death? Because he's engaged in devotional service. And he knows wherever he goes, he'll engage in devotional service. Whether it's in this robot machine or another robot machine. The robot will be controlled by Maya or Krishna, but he knows this physical body, this vehicle, we'll call it a vehicle, yantra. The vehicle, I'll be in one vehicle or another, so everything is fine. And I'll be protected by Krishna because I've given my life to Krishna. And therefore, sin cannot touch me. And as Prabhupada said, that's Krishna's promise, sarvadharma prityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrender, and then what? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Don't worry. You don't have to worry. It's all, the account is cleared. Yamaraj has been informed not to bother you. Your one-way ticket to Vaikuntha is secured. You've just validated every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You do devotional service, it's validated. And at the end, back home, back to Godhead. There's a story, a devotee was in a hospital and he had a dream. Maybe he was under anesthesia, had a dream. They were on Harinam. And all the non-devotees started chanting and dancing in ecstasy. They were becoming devotees. So the devotee told this dream to Prabhupada. No, I think it was, or maybe Prabhupada had the dream, I can't remember. And then the devotee said, did any of the non-devotees became devotees, did any of the devotees become non-devotees? Prabhupada said, oh no. He said, their name is already written in the book, back home, back to Godhead. So once Once you're a devotee, then your name's in the book. It's taken out of one book and put in another book. So when they look you up, if they don't find you in the book of sins, they'll find you in the book. You tell Yamaraj, no, look in the book, it says back home, back to God, and my name should be there. That's what. So Prabhupada said, no, it's already written, back home, back to God, they're devotees. So that's Krishna's promise, right? Hare Krishna. Wow, amazing, isn't it? So the Christians say, you have to surrender to Jesus, right? And you'll be free from all sin. And when you're free from all sin, you go to heaven. Okay, that's fine. We say the same thing. You have to surrender to Guru. Surrender to Krishna. How do you surrender to Krishna? You surrender to Guru. And Krishna says, I'll free you from all sin. He's saying the same thing Jesus is saying, right? That verse, 1866, the same thing. No man comes to me, no man comes to the Lord except through me. Tadvidi paripatena. Okay. Surrender to the Guru. Then that surrenders to me, and then I free you from sin. The difference is our process is to stop the sin. Their process is do your best. And God will make up for your weakness. So you can come in and confess, pay a little fee, and get forgiven. And so Prabhupada was asked, well, what if we commit a sin? Will you forgive us? He said, yes. Once, twice, thrice. But don't take advantage. And one time he said, if you continue, Krishna may not, Radharani probably will. But the point is, Nityananda will, but the point is, we don't think that that's right or that we can continually do that. But our obligation is, okay, just like Jagai and Madhai said, please accept us. And Mahaprabhu said, okay, I will accept you, but you have to promise never to commit sin again. And they said, yes, we will not. And so then they were initiated on the spot. That was a spontaneous initiation. Please accept us. Yes, we accept you. And it said Mahaprabhu's body turned black because he accepted. Their karma was so vast and ugly that their bodies turned black. But he made them promise no more sin. So the Christians missed that one part. Okay, Jesus will clear you. It's right there in our Shastra. You surrender to God, ask for forgiveness, He'll forgive you. But they missed the second part. And Mahaprabhu says, sin no more. That part they missed. I don't know how they missed it. How did they miss it? It's not there in the Bible? Is it? What does it say?
Repent and sin no more.
Repent and sin no more? Oh my God. Jagai and Madhai, it's like the same thing. Repent, Jagai, repent, Madhai, and sin no more. Wow. Somehow they missed that shloka. Probably wasn't one of their favorites, right? You know, there's this tendency when you have a mindset to see things in a certain way. If something is contradictory to that, you don't actually see it or it doesn't register. So, now, how can you repent? Okay, repent, yeah, you can do that. But how can you sin no more unless you have a process that gives you strength to control yourself, right? So Prabhupada says sin no more, but Prabhupada says Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And that's your power to sin no more. It's not fair to ask someone don't sin unless you give them power to be able to do it, right? Isn't it? Okay, you need to make £1 million this year. All right, here's 100,000 to invest. Here's a course on business. Here's the idea. Okay, at least I'm helping you do it. So we get the Maha Mantra. We sin no more. Take this Maha Mantra. It will prevent you. And then there it is in the story of Ajamil. You know, everyone's trying to become free from material desire. Only the bhaktas can do it. The yogis can't do it because nothing will uproot that desire as effectively as bhakti. So, there it is. you decide what process you want to take. Okay, the idea is the power of the pure devotee will purify you. So, okay, that's there. We accept Jesus is powerful to purify you. But Prabhupada was once asked, said, Srila Prabhupada, if someone's a Christian, what would they do? What would it look like? Because I think it was Tamal Krishnaraj was asking. He was thinking, well, it's a different tradition, so how would it look? And Prabhupada said, same, 4 principles, and they'd chant the name Jesus. Same thing, chant the name Jesus, follow the 4 principles, follow the orders of Jesus, same thing. Just a different name, everything else the same. Right? Yes? Yeah. So, our position is that we don't feel ourselves very spiritually advanced, we feel ourselves very spiritually fortunate to have the process which will make us advance. So it's the holy name is making us advance. Take away the holy name, what are we? Think, I become proud of my spiritual advancement. Well, it's kind of like sitting in a sports car and driving fast and thinking, hey, I'm the fastest guy on the street. Yeah, we'll get in a truck and you won't be the fastest guy on the street. So it's not you. Hello, it's not you. It's the sports car. It's not you running down the street. You're just touching the pedal. So the holy name is like this sports car. And we think, oh, yes, I'm very Krishna. I'm very advanced. I'm more advanced than all people in this world. No, more fortunate that you're in the sports car. But it's not your car. It just takes you fast. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Koda Nitai Mayapur Sashi Ki Jai. Krishna Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanami Stay Saraswati Daya. Hare Krishna. So, not more advanced, more fortunate. But if you take away the process, then what's left? The conditioned mind and the material desires, right? That's what's left. So we shouldn't be proud, but we should feel that we're fortunate that we have a process of chanting the Maha Mantra, because that gives us the strength we need in order to give up our sinful activities. And the proof is there. Because Prabhupada came, you could say, he came cold to the United States. There was no, what do they say, advance crew, setting things up, checking it, reconnaissance, check it out. Are the people ready? Set up the temple, do some classes, get them, fertilize the soil, all come in, and then it'll work. We'll plant the seed. No. The Maha Mantra did it all. So that if you need proof of the power of the Maha Mantra, that's probably, we have Jagai and Madai, but this is a contemporary proof, and we are like those people, so it's the best proof you could want. It works. There was no infrastructure. It was just the holy name, right? There's no big, huge movement and tons of books and many advanced devotees and Mayapur pilgrimages and bhakti shastris, and no, it was Prabhupada and his kirtan and his words and giving people the holy name. Even they weren't following other principles that well, but still the holy name eventually worked, and they were able to give up their sinful activity. That's proof, right? Just like we were joking yesterday. There's this comedy routine by our godbrother, Madhu Pandit. So in the comedy routine, he's doing an advertisement for a housing company that builds houses. And he explains how they build them. So they get the wood, they get the cement, they get the sand, they get the bricks, everything they need for the home, and then they pile it up on the plot, and then they light some dynamite, and there's a big explosion, and from the explosion, the house appears. And the punchline is, if it works for the universe, it can work for you. Because that's the theory of how the universe came from an explosion. Maybe not dynamite, but more powerful than dynamite. And from that explosion, order came and formed itself into a simple single-cell amoeba, and then life progressed, and all the planets came, and it was just amazing, right? That was the most amazing explosion that we've ever seen, right? Of course, nobody was there to observe the explosion, so no one can prove it actually happened and say much about it. But if it worked for the universe, it can work for you. And what was the name of the company?
Big Bang Construction.
Big Bang Construction. So, if it worked for Jaga, if the holy name worked for Jaga and Madai, it can work for you. If it worked for the hippies in New York City in 1966, it can work for you. No one should ever think, I'm to this or to that for it to work. No. The only I'm to this is too reluctant. But as long as you're not too reluctant, it'll work. If you allow it to work, it'll work. Right? So because it's like medicine. It's like saying, well, they found this medicine that cures cancer. Oh, it's not going to work on me. No, it works on stage 4 cancer. You could have cancer from head to toe, and in 3 days it's gone. Or 1 day, or 1 hour, whatever it is. No, it's not going to work for me. No, it'll work for you. It works for everybody. No, the holy name won't work for me. No, it works for everybody. If you take it, the medicine according to prescription, it'll work on you. You'll become a pure devotee. Hare Krishna. So we have some questions from our Polish, all the way from Poland, Lafal. I cannot target my heart while chanting and praying to Krishna. I want to give my heart to Krishna. But there is no heart. Give Krishna all your pain. The pain's in your heart. Share your pain with him. If there's no heart, how can I construct my own heart for Krishna? Just by today's verse, think, okay, your heart, what he's saying is his heart's like stone, he's not feeling anything. But the material world is designed to feel something, just like today's verse. If you meditate on it, you'll feel something, won't you? Go. How fortunate I am to be saved from having to suffer my karmic reaction. How much I've suffered. We're conscious of what we suffered in this life, and are still conscious of what we're suffering, but there's unlimited lives of suffering. You can't even count it. Piles and piles. And we're being saved from that. How could you not feel something? So when you chant, you can just thank Krishna for saving you. That you don't have to undergo that. There are several stories of disciples of Prabhupada who left him. They gave up Krishna consciousness to one degree or another, if not entirely. And Prabhupada appeared to them when they were leaving their body to save them. That's Srila Prabhupada. Even you leave him, he doesn't leave you. He's taking responsibility. And in that story, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So how could you not feel that? At least feel that. Thank you, Krishna. I'm saved, not of my own doing, by your mercy. So if I just continue the process, I'm under the protection of the transcendental government of Srila Prabhupada, and he'll take care of me. So that's something your stone-like heart could feel, right? That's real. That's us right now. Today. What's the date today? November what?
20.
November 20th, 2019, right now in real time. That's your reality. So just sometimes we don't feel something because we're just not conscious of the reality. And once we're conscious, then we'll feel the emotion connected with reality, that I've been saved. Like the Christians, they're really excited, especially the ones on the street. They're excited because they feel that they've been saved from going to hell and they're eternally going to heaven. And they're so excited is because they just had to say, Jesus, I accept you. And he washes us. That was like really easy. So it's like, that's amazing. I just accepted Jesus and now I'm going to heaven. So they're excited. But our situation is not a whole lot different. We've been accepted by Prabhupada. Of course, we have to do a little more than just accept, but that's the beginning. So we should be excited, don't you think? Or you don't think? We should think. You should think more about this. Yes. Right? Hare Krishna. So we can stop. Any questions? Yes?
Srila Bhagavatam Thakur, he used to go down under the ground in a special room that he would lock himself into chant. And generally we repress our emotions, men, in front of other people because we don't want to look. We don't want to be embarrassed by our emotions. So if you're trying to chant in a room and you feel like crying, then maybe you don't do that because it's going to be embarrassing. So then, and at the same time, we're told that we should chant together. But it would seem if you really wanted to connect with the emotion,
you would dig a hole and go in it. Maybe we could dig holes out, for everybody, put their name on it. So when they're feeling emotional, they can just go in the hole. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Well, sometimes you feel the emotion internally, but it doesn't manifest externally. It appears that devotees are good at concealing their advancement by not demonstrating to the world their ecstasies, because that's the instruction. Don't reveal your ecstasies. It'll be misunderstood and it may be copied by people who want some recognition. I think part of the issue is that the reality of the mercy we have and the reality of the condition we've come from is very intense. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to feel it or appreciate it. But it's not the kind of emotion that is similar to ecstatic emotion where you would kind of go mad. You would just have a lot of appreciation and it would help you, I would think, in your chanting. But sometimes you may have to go in the hole. Cry for joy. The mercy we've been given. Had you not come, who had told the message of Krishna forceful and bold? Like what would have happened if Srila Bhaktisiddhanta didn't come and didn't order Prabhupada? What would happen? What would you be doing now? You'd be in India, smoking ganja, dreadlocks, been divorced like 25 times, no money, and looking for a guru, right? Possible? Yeah. Raise your hand if that's possible. Well, we have another question. Would you be alive now if Prabhupada hadn't come? Yeah. A lot of devotees say, no, I wouldn't be. I would have destroyed myself long ago. Right? So either I'd be a hippie in Goa, eating LSD for breakfast, or I would have killed myself, or I would have been a corporate high flyer just chasing after the American nightmare. Something. So, if we reflect on this, there's a lot of emotion there, of appreciation, and how I've been saved, and also appreciation of the power of the process. Like you look at yourself now and think, maybe I wouldn't consider myself a great saint, but compared to the average person, I'm doing pretty good. If I follow the 4 principles, I get up early, I chant. That is pretty rare. Even amongst the average spiritual person, we're doing good, right? And why are we doing good? Because we've been given something very special. So we look at our life and we realize that we're doing really well, and we look at our life and we think, wow, would I be doing without this? And we realize that we'd be trying to do that, but we really wouldn't be able to do it well, right? There would be, we wouldn't have the power and we wouldn't know how to do it. So there's a lot of appreciation there, right? And the story of Ajamil, if you're not clear on that story, when Ajamil chanted his son's name, Narayana, Om Namo, no, he didn't chant Om Namo Narayana, he chanted, Oh Narayana, Narayana. So what actually happened is the chanting of that name, Narayana, freed him from past sins. And so instead of dying at that point, he wasn't pure, but his past sin was gone, so he was allowed to live. So now he could practice bhakti. Right? So the holy name is glorified. It just wiped out all the sin. And now he was like in a pure state where he could practice bhakti. And so we've all come to Krishna consciousness somehow or other, got to this point where we could follow. That's magic itself, right? And the fact that we're still here is amazing, right? Every day, every morning when you put on tilak, you should say, I'm amazed. It's another day, I'm still here. I'm going, Because without mercy, I could not go another day. Right? You look in the mirror and you say, this is one of the 7 wonders of the world. I'm a devotee. You said that becoming a devotee, we are giving up the idea of being God. But this condition of trying to be God is so deeply rooted in us that we may be a devotee, but still unconsciously wanting to take some position of God. How to overcome having the desire to be God. Krishna will take care of it. He'll make you Lord Brahma. Then you'll be really busy controlling. Lord Brahma said, it's in the Bhagavatam, I believe, Lord Brahma said, it was like he's lived his life like 50 years, and that's like, how long's a day of Brahma? 4,300,000,000. So his life is like 311 trillion or something like that. So, is that correct? Do the math. 8,600,000,000 is his day, and he lives 365 times 100. Anyway, it's like, let's say 311 trillion, I think it is. And so he hits the age of 50 and he tells Krishna, I've been trying to enjoy, it doesn't work, I give up. So that's one way. You just hit rock bottom and you realize that being God is not easy. Like Balaram wanted to be Krishna, Then all the demons came and he had to fight them, and then he said, being God's not fun. So, the point is though, or the reality is, you can't be God. So who are you trying to kid? Trying to imitate God, yeah, good luck. This one incarnation, I won't mention his name, so-called incarnation. They told Srila Prabhupada, this so-called incarnation of God has a toothache, and they're rushing him off to the dentist. And Prabhupada joked, he said, oh, God has a toothache? And he's God and he has a toothache. That doesn't make sense. God is the supreme controller, so he can control disease and pain. So why would he allow himself to have a toothache and suffer? And why would he need to go to a dentist? They might say, well, it's just his play. He's just playing like an ordinary person. Well, why would he allow himself to suffer? And why would he bother to go to a dentist? Because he could stop the suffering. And that same incarnation, his organization, in order to raise money, has an incense business. And Prabhupada joked again. He said, Oh, he's God, and God has an incense business? God's not rich, he has to start a business to make money. So, sometimes in order to overcome a desire, we just have to be intelligent and to just understand, I know I have this need to be like God, to control things and control people and enjoy and so forth. But how much can you control? And how much can you enjoy? And how will you enjoy? Not by imitating God. So sometimes it's a matter of intelligence. And look at your history. Like sometimes we do something that didn't work in the past. And we do it again thinking, well, that was bad luck. This time it's going to work. Every time I go to Las Vegas, I lose $10,000. But this time, it's going to be different. Yeah, it's going to be different. This time you're going to lose $20,000. But we think, no, this time I'm going to win $20,000. But it never happens. And you keep going back. So it's like, try to be God. Good luck. All the best. Check me out when you realize you can't do it. It's just a matter of being intelligent. So you might say, but I have this nature, I want to be God. Yeah, hello, you can't. It's not possible. And you'll never be happy being God because the position's already taken. So how can you be God? The post is occupied for eternity. There's no vacancies. But you can be a servant. One time Krishna was looking at himself, I think, in a mirror or a reflection in the water. And he's looking at this reflection. It's like, I've never seen anything so beautiful. So a devotee can enjoy more than Krishna because we can enjoy Krishna. So, you don't have to be God because you can enjoy Him, and that's a better position. Is it possible to commit no sins anymore? At least as long as I am not fully conscious? Or is it more about trying my best? Well, we had discussed this, I think, yesterday. During the initiation, we had initiation. We didn't broadcast it, but we discussed it. So, Prabhupada said, when you cook, you're killing living entities. Germs or, I don't know, little insects, or you can't see them. Microscope. You turn on a fire, there's going to be some entity that's going to burn. When you walk, eventually there's going to be some entity, some ant or something you walk on. When you breathe, there's going to be some entity you breathe and kill. Right? Some germ or something. So you can't avoid. And in order to eat, you have to eat something living. Right? That you have to eat a plant or, well, you could eat milk. Because just live on milk, then you don't kill anything. But generally, you're killing something to live. So, can you live without killing? Okay, even if you just drink milk, you're not killing a cow. If it's your cow and you're not killing it. But in boiling the milk, you'll kill some germ or something. Right? Or you'll kill the bacteria inside. So you can't avoid killing. But these four activities, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. These are the big sins that you can avoid. And so that you should avoid. And then Krishna called Arjuna Anagha, O sinless one. So how could he be sinless? We just said, you kill just... But because you engage everything in Krishna's service, so then when you kill that germ, when you're breathing in the kirtan, jumping up and down, it's not sinful. There's no sinful reaction because now you're engaged in service. So how can Arjuna be sinless? Because he's only serving Krishna, so he's sinless. So, but these four regulative principles, like if we were speaking to a Christian and they say you can't be perfectly sinless, we say at least these four you can do. But the philosophy is if you're only engaged in devotional service, then you are sinless. Because nothing's considered sinful if it's used in Krishna's service. What to speak of inadvertently committing a sin in the act of doing devotional service, stepping on an ant or something, killing a plant, and you offer it to Krishna. So you can be anagha, sinless. You can change your last name. Instead of Ackerman, you can be anagha. If you always engage in Krishna service. Right? Yes? Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Or comment? Yes?
One was a comment about the emotions that we repress them.
Yes.
And Prabhupada refers to women as generally being more, there's more attendance of women at religious functions. So because women don't repress their emotions as much as men, does that make them more capable of practicing spiritual life?
Because men tend to suppress their emotions or aren't so connected to their emotions, and women tend to be more connected. And because bhakti is, part of the path of bhakti is to express emotion, does it make it easier for women? Some ways easier, some ways more difficult. Because if those emotions are expressed for Krishna, yeah, that's good. But if those emotions are not expressed for Krishna, then it becomes difficult. If I'm connected to my emotions and I'm lamenting, I'm not a good devotee, I want to be a good devotee. So that lamentation can empower my desire. But if I'm a very emotional person, I could be lamenting about everything. Materially, I haven't achieved this material. And that could be a problem. So, if it's used for Krishna, yeah, it can be an advantage. You can give a general answer, anything can be an advantage, anything could be a detriment. Women have a nature to serve. It's like built in, like motherly nature to serve, take care, protect. So that's very good in spiritual life. Men have more of a nature to compete. That's not so good for spiritual life. Does it mean only women can be spiritual and men can't? No, it's just something that's easier for them. And then for men who have these egos who want to be served, they have to learn to, it takes them a little while. Maybe more difficult. Not for all men. And not all women. Some women are male-like, some men are female-like. But there are advantages and disadvantages to different bodies, different genders, different everything. And so we have to learn how to maximize the advantage and minimize the disadvantage. Like let's say, like some people, they love to be in front of audiences and entertain them. Musicians or comedians. They thrive on that. They love to get their picture taken and put on their website or their Facebook page and different clothes, and they love to do performances and mesmerize the audience. And you might think, that doesn't seem to be a good quality for someone who's trying to cultivate humility. They should be more private, and why do they want, to show themselves off, and then they're going to get all kinds of tattoos to look cool, and and all kinds of hairstyles and crazy clothes. It's like, why do they want to do that? They're devotees. But they have that nature. So they can use that nature, then they become well known, and they use that influence to teach people about Krishna. So that, so sometimes it's just, we have a certain nature, and it's so ingrained, it's our fingerprint, it's who we are. And so in that case, we have to figure out how I can use that for Krishna. And you see that, You can be the best musician in the three worlds, but you don't have enough ego. You go on stage, it's kind of like, you're not like a showman. People, it's not going to work. So some people have that nature. They're good at something, but they're not showmen. And some people have that showman nature. They like, if they could be in front of 100,000 people, they're like, that's like like the culmination of their existence. And if I said, you have to speak in front of 100,000 people, you'd take cyanide that night, so you don't have to do it. So we have our natures, right? How many would like to speak in front of 100,000? Most people say they'd rather kill themselves than have to do that. Not in front of 100,000, 100. But there are other people like, yeah, I'd love to do that, yeah. Get the people, I'm ready, What are you going to talk about? It doesn't matter, I'll talk about something. What song are you going to sing? Oh, sing something. I want to perform. So then you use that. And realize Krishna gave you that nature. You can use it to influence people in a positive way. And say, thank you, Krishna, and I will just use this that way. I won't use it so I become some famous personality so everyone can go, you're so great, and I can feel good about myself. No.
It almost about the same. I know that, so and you were saying that you follow the four-rated principles, so you may step on an ant, but you may not be following the four-rated principles, or you may be trying to follow them. You may be trying hard to follow them to somebody who's following them. And if it's a question of devotion,
okay, so the question is, it's not a question, it's a statement. Or a discussion, a question for this.
I would say, is that a misunderstanding? That you could say, well, I'm not following the principles, but I'm
not following it, but I'm trying to follow.
I'm trying harder than you that is.
Sometimes Prabhupada would say, it's like, okay, I'm not eating, but I'm trying to eat. What does that mean? Like, you're still hungry. So that doesn't, we understand. But ultimately, it has to be more than trying. It has to come to that point where we actually do it. It's good. We should try, and we encourage anyone who's trying, for sure. And sometimes that's all you can do. And we wouldn't condemn someone for trying, but it's different when you take a vow. Because once you take a vow, then you can't try anymore. It's too late for trying. Once you make the vow, it's like trying's over. Now I'm vowing to do it. So, like for example, before you met your wife, there was this idea, at some point there was the idea maybe we should get married. And you might have discussed it, and you might have thought, well, I'm not sure. But once you're married, you can't go home and say, this marriage thing, I'm not sure. Then you can't do it then, because you made your vow. So once you made your vow, it's not like, you go home and say, Jagannath Ishwari, Jagannath, I don't know if it's going to work, and I just, kind of over it now. And she's like, what? And you say, okay, I'll try. She's like, what? Try? You made a vow. So what's this try? That's like before you get married. Well, let's try. Let's see, We'll go out, we'll get to know one another. Let's see. Let's try and see if it works, right? You want to start a business. Okay, well, let's, before we invest any significant amount of money, let's do some market research and like that, we'll try. But once, the business is started, and we've all committed, we can't just bail out. So yeah, it's good, you try. We congratulate you for trying. But once you take a vow, then it has to go beyond trying. That's what it means to get initiated. I'm not trying anymore. Now it's like do or die. So, but I would also say if we're trying something and we're failing, maybe there's something missing, either an attitude or a technique. Maybe we're not trying intelligently or the best way. Or something internal is blocking us from being successful. So that always should be there. If you want to achieve something and you're trying, you should always reflect. If I'm not successful, and it's important that I'm successful, why I'm not successful. And eventually you'll be successful. Because trying could also sound like, well, I don't care that much. to do what I have to do. That may not be the case, but it could be. Yes? Do you want to try to go back to Godhead, or do you want to go back to Godhead? I think you want to go back to Godhead. Yes? Well, I don't know. We'll see. See how it goes. If you're going to see how it goes, your determination is not so strong. So probably it's not going to go well. Yeah, just kind of go with the flow. You're going to go back to Godhead? Well, we'll see. Go with the flow. See how it works. We know where the flow goes. In the material world, it flows down. Unless you're fighting the gravity, it flows down. You go down with it. Right? The material world flows into the gutter. If you're not careful, you'll end up in the gutter. Okay? We can stop. So, all of you out there on Facebook, we're having another class in about 2 hours on cooperation. How to cooperate when you can't cooperate. Something like that. So you're all welcome. I'll broadcast that. For your viewing pleasure, I will broadcast. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.